Welcome to Chapter 1, Episode 1. Hopefully you watched the channel introduction, and if not, you may want to do that now, as it'll give some helpful context to the upcoming videos. Now, the main purpose of this video is to give you a preview of what's to come in this chapter, which, if the title didn't already give it away, is about hearing voices. So without further ado, here we go. In Episode 2, which is the one right after this one, we're going to learn about how in indigenous cultures, hearing voices is typically regarded as a gift that, if cultivated properly, can lead a young voice hearer down the path to becoming a shaman. In Episode 3, we'll discuss some research from Stanford on the role of culture in voice hearing, which shows that outside of the West, people's experience of voice hearing is nothing like what it is here. And I don't just mean that it's in a different language, it's way cooler than that. In Episode 4, we'll learn that hearing voices is surprisingly common, and we'll check out a recent study from the Yale School of Medicine which looked at patients with schizophrenia alongside a very specific group of people who hears voices but are not distressed by them. I bet you can't guess who they are. In Episode 5, we'll look at the story of a young woman who overcomes her diagnosis of schizophrenia when she realizes that her voices are trying to communicate meaningful messages to her. By engaging in a dialogue with them, she's able to fundamentally change the relationship she has with her voices and heal herself in the process. Finally, in Episode 6, we're going to dive into the past and learn about some famous voice hearers throughout history. And we're going to do so through the lens of a very intriguing theme that's going to emerge from the episodes leading up to this one. You don't want to miss it. Now, having just told you what to expect, I want to take a moment to tell you what not to expect. And that is heartbreaking stories of people with schizophrenia who spend their days tormented by the voices in their head. Like, that is a very real and very painful experience, but with the exception of one episode, you're not going to be seeing very much about that in this chapter. And there are two reasons for that. The first is that the focus of this chapter is not schizophrenia, rather it's hearing voices. And while the two overlap significantly, you're going to see in the coming episodes that not all experiences of voice hearing are negative, much less result in a diagnosis of schizophrenia. And the second reason is that most people are already familiar with this narrative, that people who hear voices hear ones that are harsh and threatening. Like, that side of the story is very well known, and what I'm trying to do is to show you the other side of the story. In fact, when it comes to voice hearing, the stereotypical harsh and threatening voices that we tend to think of actually constitute a minority of cases, as we're going to see. So keep all that in mind as you watch these videos, that the point is not to romanticize voice hearing, rather it's to show you the other side of it, the side that you don't typically hear about. Anyway, I hope you enjoy these videos. I recommend watching them in order as each one builds off the one before it. If you like them, throw them a little thumbs up, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies if you think that's something they might benefit from. And if you don't like it, well, that's okay too. That's all for this episode. I hope to see you in the next one.